Dallas is our first stop. Dak and the Cowboys, Patrick and the Chiefs. The game of our lifetimes. Halfway through the first, Chiefs are taking a 7-0 lead. And then Dak is looking for CD, and we have an early shootout.
You have a double move right here on Trent McDuffie. Coming off of a game where he dropped a ton of balls, CD Lamb comes up big early.
Both quarterbacks in their bag early. Chiefs, this is a 3rd and long, and it's playoff Patrick running for it.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes hit him with the dead leg. DeMarvion Overshown. Well, he was the spy. He was blocked up, and Patrick Mahomes doing what he does in the biggest game.
And that's what they did yesterday was go for it on 4th and goal, Davey. That's Travis Kelce in the back of the end zone.
They said it was over for Travis Kelce. They might have been wrong.
Chiefs take a 14-7 lead. Now back we go the other way. Bart, the one thing the Cowboys are doing is running the ball.
And that's shoddy. That's a staple, a little bit of Marty Ball for Thanksgiving.
That's Malik Davis with a 43-yard run. Cowboys up 3 at halftime. Now we go to the 4th. Chiefs down 20-14, and RC on a 4th down play. Look at Patrick extend.
Listen, you have to go for all the money. Rasheed Rice was huge all day with 92 yards, 8 catches, none bigger than this.
Yes, 2 touchdowns for Rice on the day, but look at Patrick keeping the play alive, and the Chiefs take a 21-20 lead. Ensuing Cowboys drive 3rd and 8, the first of the plays of the game.
Listen, George Pickens, if George Pickens lands this hurdle, it's the play of the year. George Pickens showed time and time again that he is truly a #1 receiver, and the talent is off the charts. Now it's matching the attitude and the production.
He had 6 catches, 88 yards, and that sets up this. Look at this nice play by Dak on the 3rd and goal.
We've seen Dak Prescott start to create with his legs more than we've seen in years, and no play was bigger than this one to Javonte Williams, and he follows it up with a great play of the 2-point conversion.
Which they get, so they're up 28-21. Now 10 minutes in the 4th. Cowboys deep in their own territory, but there's CD Lamb.
Steve Spagnuolo showed you last week against the Indianapolis Colts. He is bringing pressure in the most important times. CD Lamb one-on-one with Kamari Connor, big time throw by Dak.
And then after Dak was almost intercepted on a 2nd down here.
Oh, no!
Pickens fumbles.
Oh, yeah!
Turpin.
Hey, Kavontae Turpin playing until the whistle, running to the ball. This play saves the game.
Absolutely. That's as big a play as there is because it turns into 3 points. Now back we go the other way. Hollywood Brown back of the end zone. Dan, they will not go away. It's 31-28.
This is still there. Don't let the Chiefs get into the playoffs. This is still there.
I got ahead of myself. This was the unbelievable play from Mahomes, avoiding all the pressure and finding Xavier Worthy for 42 yards.
We've seen this dude do this before in the most important moments and biggest plays of the game.
And then, as I foreshadowed, this is Hollywood Brown in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Mahomes throws 4 scores on the day. It's 31-28. And now, this final drive on a 2nd down. The Chiefs are using their timeouts. We got pass interference. Is this a good call?
This is a good call, right? He was supposed to be inside man. He holds on to George Pickens. He grabs him. He turns his body. That's the definition of pass interference.
2 plays later, Lamb catches this one anyway, but they do throw pass interference. Is this a good call?
Listen, this was not a good call, but good thing he caught the football anyway.
Caught it anyway, and then just over 2 minutes to go on a 3rd down. They've got Pickens. Dak throws for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys hang on. They win at 31-28. Here's Dak after a hard-fought win.
We can be whatever we want to be. Everything's in front of us. I just was telling the offense of that when we were in, those kneel downs at the end of the game. But it's not going to happen next Thursday. It's going to happen, Sunday when we get in the building. We're still put ourselves in a tough position. Doesn't mean that we've got out of it just because of the 2 teams that we've beat. Next week's just as important as this game was.
What a great win on Thanksgiving Day. So what a Thanksgiving we have about this bunch. I don't think I've ever been in a more appreciative locker room than the game that they played today against a mighty special team.
My gas.
Is there a greater visual, I ask you, than Jerry Jones standing there holding a turkey leg on the day after Thanksgiving, celebrating a win? But let's give credit to this group. RC, in the last 5 days, this team just beat both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. They fell behind in both of the games. They showed resiliency. They show offensive explosiveness. They make enough big defensive plays, and they are back in it. What's the #1 reason?
Well, the #1 reason is Dak Prescott and his duo of wide receivers, CD Lamb and George Pickens. And right now, there's no trio in all of football who are playing at a higher level than these 3 men. And what we saw from Dak Prescott Prescott yesterday was understanding that at the start of a football game, he's going to work to CeeDee Lamb, and then late to finish, he can go to George Pickens. Here, you're going to see a one-on-one with Trent McDuffie on the sail route. He's going to get the football to him because he sees the man in the middle of the field. Now, this safety's playing too tight into the line of scrimmage, too tight into the quarters, and he's going to get a double move on the outside by CeeDee Lamb versus Trent McDuffie. And watch this layered throw by what we see from Dak Prescott, puts it in the back of the end zone. And here is where George Pickens starts to step up. We're going to see a blitz, and on the blitz, we know right away we can get the football to George Pickens, and the safety is leaning away from Pickens to CeeDee Lamb. He gets to the outside, and here's the play that we were talking about, jumping over the last man, almost landing it and getting it to the end zone. And this is the play that seals the deal. You're going to get a 3-by-1, which means everyone else is opposite of George Pickens. And watch the way Javonte Williams pulls Jaden Hicks out of the throw area right to where George Pickens is going. And I feel like Brian Schottenheimer has done a great job of finding ways to get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens the matchups you need to win. And that's what having a 1A and a 1B wide receiver do for you.
It's like basic football, but when you got great players, it's so hard to stop. That is a simple slant flat right there. That is a shoddy special all the way back from the Jet days. But you really have to tip. I have to tip my cap to Jerry Jones. He should stick his chest out like a peacock. They have lived up to the expectations. He said he was going to fix the defense. We knew this offense was Super Bowl caliber. Dak Prescott is playing the best football of his career. And if they get in the tournament, they're the most dangerous out potentially in the game. And listen, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. We all thought that when Patrick Mahomes came down, like, oh, God, here they come. But Dak Prescott said, you know what? And Shotty said, I'm going to throw my way to victory. I'm not going to run the football, let them call their timeouts, punt, depend on my defense. I'm going to put the game in the hands of Dak Prescott. And on that drive, when they responded, it was all slants and throws by Dak Prescott, reading the defense and making the right plays.
Not only that, the confidence that he showed tonight, backed up in his own end zone, right? There were a couple of series there where they're really good punting by the Chiefs, and the Cowboys keep taking over deep in their own territory. Nothing conservative about it. Stayed balanced, trusting in their quarterback who's playing out of his mind.
Can we talk about that play right there?
Yeah.
When Dak had 9 seconds to throw.
Yeah.
You know, everybody want to talk about this rookie, you know, and saying, oh, they took a guy from Alabama.
Tyler Booker.
Tyler Booker put a masterclass against Jalen Carter, and he just ragdolled one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Look at this, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Like, get your hands off me. Listen, he over there yoking up one of the best players in the game. And listen, Jerry didn't miss on that. It wasn't a sexy pick, but, man, he is playing his ass off.
They know how to draft offensive linemen. There's no doubt about it. Look, you talk about confidence. That's the word with Dak Prescott. I go back early in the season. I had a game of theirs on a Sunday. It was a crazy one against the Giants that went to overtime.
Yeah.
And after the game, Dak's sitting there in his press conference, and somebody asked him a question, and he goes, I've been telling you guys, rehab went really well. Like, he came into this season feeling fantastic physically. He came into this season knowing he had another number 1 wide receiver in addition to CeeDee Lamb. So that confidence, and obviously they've built a run game, and Brian Schottenheimer calling plays at a high level, the two of them, obviously a good mix. So confidence. All they needed was a defense that could make us stop every now and then. And you see it. They get Mahomes out on the move a little bit and fluster him a little bit.
Brian Schottenheimer should be in every Coach of the Year conversation. I know we're going to look at the sort of the career, the resumes, right? We're going to look at the records and say, well, maybe he's not doing what Vrabel doing, or he's not doing what McVay or McDonald is doing. No coach has shown more leadership than Brian Schottenheimer. No coach has had to deal with your best player being shipped off to the Green Bay Packers. No coach has had to deal with what they dealt with, the tragedy with Marshawn Neely. And no man has led in the manner that Brian Schottenheimer has led. And the one thing that he controls is how this team shows up to every game. And then the thing that he controls in game is the X's and O's of the offense. And this offense has been Super Bowl caliber the entire year. The last 2 games, not only were they playing against the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl, they were down to both of those teams in their own building with a quarterback that people says can't come back, a quarterback that can't compete, a quarterback that shrinks in the biggest moments. He's played at an MVP level, and Brian Schottenheimer deserves a ton of credit because people questioned his hire this offseason.
And everybody judges the coach on like game management and you know, 4th down decisions and all that. But what happens behind the scenes is so important, and I think it's such a great point about how he has led this team. Going back to the offseason, I mean, talking to players there, like what makes him good. They talk about how he got people together in the offseason, not just the players, but with their families.
Yeah.
And the players will say, like, he wanted to make sure that everybody knew why each other is doing this.
Yeah.
And so he's connected with them on a level that goes beyond what we see on Sunday, but I think obviously that manifests itself in the performance.
And you talk about how long he waited, right? He was a head coaching candidate when he was there with the AFC Championships with the Jets, and he waited a long time. He had to go around the league, and everybody questioned, like you said, but his leadership and also his toughness. It doesn't feel like Club Med anymore in Cowboy land. It seems like everybody they have a sense of toughness, mental toughness, and physical toughness as well, because they also ran the ball to the tune of 137 yards, which is a byproduct of having those great receivers when you got to have them two high safeties. You talk about, the touchdown, the CD at the bottom. That's because that safety had to take that trips formation. Shotty is teaching a master class, man, and I'm so happy for him.
You're making such an important point. Brian Schottenheimer, at some point in this journey, went to college. I mean, he was back in college coaching and all that kind of stuff. He took a very circuitous route from being a heavily sought-after candidate to being basically an afterthought. Yeah. And now here he is. And in a situation that is unique in the entire NFL, there's no other situation like the one that he's in. It does feel like he manages to be the leader there without obscuring everything Jerry Jones wants to be. And that is a very difficult line to walk, and I feel like he's getting it right.
Think about this, though, and obviously the circumstances have dictated that we go inside the locker room of the Dallas Cowboys. Right. But remember the first win against the Las Vegas Raiders after Marshawn Kneeland passed on Monday night, and the tears in his eyes, those were genuine. Like, that wasn't bullcrap. That wasn't for the camera. That's being real, and that's understanding what it took for those men to come together and win that game. And then in the locker room again, after you beat the Philadelphia Eagles, he was like, you might not have to win the first, and he went through all the quarters. He's like, but you got to win the fourth. When has the Dallas Cowboys in the recent decades been the team you expect to win the fourth quarter against a defending, reigning champion? And then now to come into this week in a must-win situation, not only for you, for the greatest player in the world who played his absolute butt off trying to save his team, and your guy outplays him, that's belief in your preparation. That's belief in who you are. And all of that starts with Brian Schottenheimer, who has managed to be the face of this team when nobody else can in that position.
The biggest sell job that he did was to George Pickens. It didn't start off so great for George Pickens. He was coming off, walking off the line. He looked unengaged. And at some point, Shotty had to pull him to the side and say, hey, we're going to need you. And CeeDee Lamb goes down, and man, has he balled in since then. And now when CeeDee comes back, this is maybe the best 1-2 punch in all of football because of the versatility of the route running, right? You got CeeDee Lamb that can run route runs, but also, I mean, George Pickens just a physical freak. You said it a couple years ago.
Now, everybody was mad at me.
Yeah, but it took a while for him to develop and mature. But this is a mature, engaged, locked-in George Pickens, which is dangerous, which opens up their offense and makes it virtually impossible to stop on a consistent basis.
You guys made the point. No one's going to want to see them in the playoffs. Let me get you to the early game in Detroit. Packers, Lions. Might have been the most important, most consequential final of the entire season in so many ways. Second quarter, the Packers, theme of the day, fourth down, and they're going for it. How about Dontavian Wicks?
Listen, I didn't think this was a catch initially. He gets the right foot down, then the left, takes a huge hit, and finishes with control through the ground. This is an absolute monster play, but a monster call by Matt LaFleur, who knew points were going to be important.
Yes, fourth down going to be the theme of the day. Packers up 10-0. Now it's 17-7. Jamison Williams. On any given play, Bart, he's a touchdown waiting to happen.
Tell you what, bring your arms with you. I'm so tired of seeing tackling in football like this, but I'm happy because I'm a Lions fan.
Lions make it 17-14. We got ourselves a thriller. Third quarter, same score. Packers on a second down. Christian Watson is down there somewhere.
Christian Watson, this is an out and up against Amik Robertson. Look at this ball. This is a moon ball. A la Russell Wilson, and down to one of the fastest players at the position. A huge touchdown for the Green Bay Packers, and Jordan Love was on fire.
Packers in front the whole day, playing from behind with the Lions. Midway through the third, play action. Jared Goff's got all day, and then Danny's got Isaac Tesla in the end zone.
He did not have Amon-Ra St. Brown, got hurt early in this game, so they had to make do with some different guys at receiver.
But every time the Lions do anything, Green Bay has an answer.
Wicks.
There's Wicks again. What a game for Dontavian Wicks. So it's 31-20 when it just stays that way. Now, RC, huge moment. 4th and 3 for the Lions, down 10, early 4th quarter. Field goal makes it a one-score game.
Yeah, but you expect Dan Campbell to go for this. This is the right call. A low crosser to Jameson Williams, who's having a huge game. Ball hits him right in the chest, and he drops it.
Ball's a little bit behind. Come on, Jared. We need
You got to catch the ball.
Fascinating
83
decision.
million.
0 for 2 on 4th downs on the day for the Lions. And then Micah Parsons.
Michael Parsons was an absolute stud the entire day. Makes history with this sack. Finishes on Jared Goff. Absolutely crushes him and keeps them from a position of being able to go for it on
He had
4th down.
2.5 sacks on the day. And then the Packers going the other way with a chance to ice the game. I still can't believe they went for it on this 4th and 3. And what a play. What a game for Dontavian Wicks. Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns, tying Brett Favre's record for the most in Packers history on a Thanksgiving. Packers hold on and win it 31-24. Dan Graziano, you're the one who made this point earlier. Look how even this game was in every way. Almost every number is practically completely identical except the one at the bottom.
That's exactly, and that made the difference. Look at Packers 3 for 3 on 4th down. The first 2 were touchdowns.
Yeah.
And the last one was the one we just showed that iced the game. They didn't have to punt the ball back to Detroit. Look, you give the ball back to the Lions there. Jameson Williams, if he catches it, can score from anywhere on the field. Jahmyr Gibbs, same thing. Yeah. So, yeah, it was important. That was a game-winning call and a game-winning play.
I have to ask my 2 players here. On behalf, I think, of all the fans watching the game. First and foremost, Dan Campbell could coach my team every day of the week and twice on Sunday. He's one of my favorite coaches of the league. He is great. But 2 decisions that he makes there. And you said in the highlight you agreed with the decision not to kick the field goal on that at the 21-yard line and make it a one-score game. RC agreed with it. Bart, did you?
No. I mean, at some point you have to take the points. And I understand that the play he was open, but you take the points, you make it a one-score game, and to me that's a lack of belief in your defense. Because if you got a defense team, you get the points. No, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Listen, because he's 0 for 7 on 4th down in his last 2 or 3
games. Yes,
in his last 2 games.
But it's not like he just started going for it on 4th down.
But it's 4th and 3.
But are you just going for it on every 4th down? I mean, but the field goal is right there. Makes it a one-score game.
I feel like he doesn't go for it on every 4th down.
No.
But you're playing against a team that's being extremely aggressive.
Because you don't believe in who.
So early on, think about this. Early on in the first half, you have the 2 run plays, right? That they're stopped in the backfield by Michael Parsons and Evan Williams, right? They finish, or McDuffie, they finish. And then now in this situation, on 4th and 3, when you've been aggressive your entire tenure as a coach, you won 3 games the first year, and you were exactly the same way. You were this aggressive at all times. You don't change in that moment, because if you watch that play, if Jamo Williams catch that, he is still running right now in downtown Detroit.
If it was a 5th, we all be drunk, though, too.
But, I mean, there's 10.5 minutes left in the game.
Right.
If there's 5 minutes left in the game. Wait, no. That's not what you're missing. If there's 5 minutes left in the game and you think you're only going to get the ball one more time, sure, you cut it to 1 score. But at 10.5 minutes, you're not out of possessions
yet.
I'm
glad you said that, because they did only get the ball one more time. And the reason for that is it took them 6 minutes to run their next drive, which results in the field goal. We showed you the Micah Parsons sack. That winds up holding them to the field goal in that situation. And Bart, the amount of time they're letting run off the play clock on every snap. They're huddling. They're snapping the ball with 3 seconds, 4 seconds left. In a 2-score game, I found myself rooting for the Lions for no reason, and I'm screaming at the television, why are they taking so much time?
Well, I think they knew that they were going to get an opportunity. They still had an opportunity to stop them with the 2-minute warning, with all their timeouts. They knew it was going to come down to 1 possession, so those seconds on the clock really didn't matter. What was important was make sure you get the right play, make sure you have the right side adjustments. If Green Bay brought you something defensively that you weren't prepared for. A lot of times you go no huddle. A lot of times you can't really be complicated in your protections, and you mess around and get an easy sack, game over, especially with Michael Parsons, Rashawn Gary, those guys hunting. So I didn't have any problem with that. I want to go back to the fact that you take the points, and if you don't take the points, it's because you don't believe in your defense.
But how can you believe in them? You're watching the game. You are watching the game, and you are watching Matt LaFleur at every moment know exactly what's coming, have the exact correct man beater dialed up, and it's working time after time after time. Hey, listen, Like Emmett said that one time, a leopard can't change his stripes. It can't.
I understand what both of you were saying.
Yeah.
I would have kicked the field goal, but that's neither here nor there. I wouldn't have believed in my defense if I were them yesterday either. Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns in the game.
They're very banged up on that side of the ball.
Am I the only one at the table who was stunned by how much time they were taking between plays on that last
you know what?
drive? I mean, there's a veteran offense.
Right, here's what you also have to remember. It's a veteran offense without its 2 true safety blankets in Sam Laporta and more importantly, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And so sometimes understanding the processes and getting people in the right position in those situations is a little bit different, especially for Jared Goff, who when things breaks down, he understands that the telepathy he has between himself and number 14 is just different. You couldn't get into those things yesterday, and dialing up the right play was what they needed to do more so than anything else. And the other thing is this, just make a stop.
Yeah.
Right? You have them on 4th and 3. If they make that stop, you have that ball near midfield with an opportunity to score with 2 minutes left. That's on this defense. They have to make a play.
The 4 had their number. They had every man beater possible. They got to play that better, have different answers for it. But I still believe why not go for it instead of kicking the field goal? Right? If you believe in it, go for it because it's easier to kick a field goal late, especially indoors, than it is to get a touchdown. So the philosophy doesn't match.
And we have all morning long to talk about these games. But at the end of the day, to say something on the other side of it. Jordan Love was brilliant, Micah Parsons was brilliant, and the Packers look legit.
Why can't they look like this every week?
Right.
Like
they don't play the Lions every week.
They can be the best team in the league. And sometimes LaFleur goes in with a conservative game plan. I think because maybe he thinks it's a lesser opponent, and then he pulls out all the stops in Detroit on Thanksgiving. The Packers could be that good every single week.
Well, to me, Jordan Love's aggression that we saw starting with the New York Giants and into this week was big, but it was also Micah Parsons, right? We've talked about Jerry Jones finding a way to correct the mistake of trading Micah Parsons away, but what we saw from him yesterday was absolute dominance. And the way Jeff Hafley has utilized him, we see him make so many plays lined up as a rush end. We forget he's an off-ball backer. And so now when you see him on 3rd down and the way that he's utilized standing right behind the nose tackle and moving around as some sort of chess piece has been huge for how this team has progressed the pass rush.
We have the fan kicked in late afternoon yesterday, and you missed Bengals Baltimore last night. It was a fascinating night. Joe Burrow back. They haven't lost a game that he started this year. Hasn't played since week 2. And then early in this game, Derrick Henry, Bart, we figure, okay, this is about what we expect this game to look like. Derrick Henry's just going to run right through him.
Oh, yeah. Swiss cheese defense right there. Shoulders parallel to the end zone. Reservation for 6, Greeny.
But then, RC, the rest of the game happened. The Ravens up 7-6. This is where it kind of turns. Isaiah Likely's going in for a touchdown, or is he?
He's not going for a touchdown because of Jordan Battle's hustle. We haven't seen this from Al Golden's defense all season long. This is a big-time play, and to me, this changes the game.
Is that a loaf of bread you carried?
It was a likely touchdown.
The football.
It was unlikely.
And it turns into an unlikely touchback, and now we're going the other way, and we've seen this before. It's Burrow to Jamar Chase.
You know who else has seen this? Marlon Humphrey. This ain't the first time Jamar Chase has been behind.
No Higgins,
like
triple that
big
man.
Time play.
Final seconds of the half, Lamar looking to throw, and then it falls out of his hands.
It's a tuck rule right here, baby.
Hey, blame it on Tom Brady. Blame it on Tom Brady.
Actually turns into a field goal for the Bengals going the other way, so it's 12-7 Cincinnati, and now we're midway through the 3rd quarter. This is on a 3rd down. Dan, how about the catch from Tanner Hudson?
This is unbelievable. Is it Kyle Hamilton on him?
Yes.
Perfect throw, but to catch it one-handed.
More excited about this.
Spectacular catch. Bengals take a 19-7.
Why isn't he more excited about it? Forget. How am I going to be excited if you ain't excited for it?
19-14. This is on a 3rd and 9. Yoshi Vaz.
This is a great play. Listen, in the commercial, Dan said, make Yoshi Vaz beat you, and he did there on the blitz.
Making a switch call, blitz
early 4th quarter, what you were seeing is one of the Ravens' 5 turnovers in this game.
He had 11 last year total.
5 of this night.
Bengals lost to the Jets.
Everything was about Madden yesterday. It felt like watching someone play Madden.
Yeah, and not well.
Yeah, one was a masterclass.
3 of those turnovers. Bengals win at 32-14. So look, first and foremost, good for the Bengals, good for Joe Burrow. He was there because he wanted to be there and play. I give him all the credit in the world for coming back. And you know their story. They're 4-8. If they win out, maybe they win the division. The other side.
Yes.
What do we say about the Ravens this morning?
The Baltimore Ravens are cooked. And I know people are going to say that they could still win the AFC North. I wish this could be like Hunger Games and the Kansas City Chiefs could be a tribute for them and we could give them their spot. Because when you watch the Baltimore Ravens play, and even though they've been on this winning streak, this is what they look like. Now, it hasn't been the turnovers, but there's no chemistry between Lamar and his wide receivers. Offensively, they aren't running the football at a clip that we're normally seeing from them. And Lamar Jackson, until last night, wasn't even using his legs. This team hasn't played great offense since the Buffalo Bills game, which they lost that game as well.
Yeah.
And so
that was week one.
And then what happened, right? Zach Orr fixed the defense by acquiring Aloy Gilman and moving Kyle Hamilton close to the line. People are figuring out that at this moment, too. This isn't the team that we thought they were. At the beginning of the season, they have the best roster. This is the team to beat. They are not executing and playing like it. They will be one and done in the playoffs, and that's if they make it in a terrible AFC North.
Words hurt, RC. See,
But
I
they're
called
true,
you AC.
right?
Words hurt, man. This is horrible to watch. Listen, even during their winning streak, it just didn't look right. The Jets looked like it was a winnable game.
7-3 half.
Yeah, it looked like it was a winnable game. And Lamar hasn't looked right. And if Lamar can't be the electric ball player, and yeah, he looked better, but he still didn't look like Lamar. He was pulling up, he was sliding when normally he would go for the extra 20 yards. It's something wrong with that hamstring. His footwork, his mechanics are off, his accuracy. Even when he tried to throw the ball at Zay Flowers in the hole, he was late with that, and that wasn't accurate. Selling balls, that's all about mechanics. And his defense, to your point, they can't rush the passer. Right? They went out and got Gilman, but they let Oweh go. They don't have anybody naturally being able to get past, so now you got to, have Hamilton on the 3 technique and try and run a U game like they ain't seen that last week.
It worked against the Bears.
But they saw 3 weeks in a row, bro. I'm on that.
So what do we say about them now, and what do we say about the rest of the way?
Lamar Jackson, the last 3 weeks, has been on the injury report with a knee injury, an ankle injury, and a toe injury. And this is after he missed 3 games in a row with a hamstring injury. So something's going on. Like, he's obviously not fully healthy. Did run more last night, but hasn't been that same guy. And if he can't, look, the Steelers are in first place in that division. Well, they're leaking oil a little bit. Like, that division is gettable, but
you ain't going either, RC.
Who wins it? Someone has to win the division.
I hope nobody.
I check the rules. Someone has to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think you still believe in the Baltimore Ravens because you feel like Lamar Jackson can figure out how to be Lamar Jackson again. And when you watch the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to be honest, that defense in no way makes me feel the warm and fuzzies. It makes me feel like it's the middle of 2000s again. And so right now, I still say the Baltimore Ravens, but it's going to be by default because no one else can grab the division. The thing that the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, have going against them is they have to play these Cincinnati Bengals again. Yeah. And I expect them to be good down the stretch.
If the Bengals beat the Bills next week,
here we go.
Watch out. I mean, it can happen. Joe Burrow,
they were in this very same position last season, and they played to 9-8.
This defense will be the death of them.
At this very moment, they have the best quarterback in the division because Lamar does not look like himself.
Yeah, this is the worst defense maybe in the history of football.
But that same defense had 5 turnovers last night against the Baltimore Ravens on the road.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Look, I mean, again, I'll finish it again by saying, I looked up the rules. Someone has to win the division.
That is true.
So someone has to get into the playoffs.